Hello and welcome. I have got nurse Jacqui here with me. She is on a mission to reconnect all women, especially young women, with feminine wisdom. What is feminine wisdom, Jacqui?
Oh my gosh, it's a total, we've been totally duped about this. It's a total lost little dug down in a big hole, and it is amazing. And what it is our feminine connection to not only ourselves but to the world. And I believe that the world fiercely needs us to hear this information. And it fiercely needs empowered women understanding this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful feminine wisdom that we actually have in us.
Yeah. Now, Jacqui works with young women and their mothers, like super powerful, right? I know as being a mum of a teenager, right? Like I thought I had all the knowledge and all the wisdom to share, but I didn't. She had so many questions for me that I couldn't even answer, right? And I've been an anatomy and physiology teacher, so you'd think I'd know a little bit more, right? But you're right. We're so disconnected from it. So
Yeah.
what is the purpose in connecting us back into our feminine wisdom? Like, what does it mean? Like, do you actually teach us about the cycle and about our period and how we can manage it? Like, what is the thing?
Well, I mean, one way I can describe it is that we live in a circadian cycle, so day and night, which men fit into really well with their sex hormones. Whereas as women, we actually function in an infradian cycle, so the moon cycle. So we've kind of been pushing ourselves into this, linear circadian cycle for many, like millions of years since this beautiful wisdom has been stolen from us. And we think we're going crazy. We think we're going nuts. And so we lean into really unhelpful tools. So, alcohol, and there was a real thing going around, 5 o'clock, mum, drink wine sort of thing. Or we lean into really unhelpful tools. But when we actually understand that cycle, that moon cycle, and the beautiful benefits that it comes with, we actually realize that we don't fit into this circadian cycle and we're not going crazy. And the thing is that we still wholly and solely are, Michelle or Jacqui showing up. We just show up quite differently throughout that infradian cycle. So when we actually understand that, we can go, oh, cool, here I am still me, showing up in this way. And it's so super empowering because you can actually plan how you're going to function, how you're going to fit into the circadian cycle when you understand how you show up each day in the infradian cycle.
That sounds like a much more empowered position to come from, because I mean, like, we've all done it, right? We're like,
Yeah.
no, can't do it. I mean, like, some women had such painful periods that they can't even get out of bed, right? And
Yeah, no.
why should you say to those women, it's unacceptable, carry on.
I know, breaks my heart now. So we've normalized pain and heavy bleeding. We've normalized that, and it's not normal.
Right.
I know.
But
I know.
see, we don't know anything, Jacqui. Like, it's terrible.
I know.
Like, you want to give your kid more power than what you had for yourself, right?
I know, true, right? Yeah.
It.
And just all the language we've used, balancing your hormones. To me, the word balance is kind of like, oh my God, it's like, holding plates and you've got to tipple over. It sounds so like impossible. And now I've realized it's actually super possible, and it's super possible with what we've actually got. We don't need to go out and have whole lots of intervention. Some women do, yes. However, we don't all have to do that. And we don't, it's also actually understanding, we've also been totally duped around our contraception as well. So our beautiful cycle, which gives us daily, monthly, yearly, lifelong benefits, and I'm talking your heart health, your bone health, your brain health, your gut health, your whole body health is switched off when we are given hormonal contraception. So it's almost kind of like saying to a guy, hey, until you're mature enough and you're settled enough, we're actually going to give you a vasectomy because it's reversible, and we're going to switch off all your sex hormones in the meantime. So it's no different to that. And that's what we have been given since the 60s.
It's so shocking, Jacqui, when you say it like that. Like, we all know that we've been disempowered, but like hearing these words, like, it's seriously making me a bit teary, right? Like, it's
Yeah, I know.
like,
No, it breaks my heart. I know.
and then that's going to happen to our precious little children. But
I
we're
know,
really
right?
lucky that our precious children are not standing for this bollocks, are they?
Oh, they're hungry. Oh my gosh, they're so hungry. They are hungry for this information. They're begging for it, absolutely begging for it. And then, of course,
and they don't get it in sex education in school.
No. And I mean, schools aren't even teaching young women about female pleasure. They hear about male pleasure, but they don't even hear about female pleasure. I know, right? I know. And then, of course, I'm a mum of daughters too. And so, I mean, I was last years old when I was learning all this information, and it's just like, I've got to get more of it. And so I didn't know how, I didn't have the answers because I didn't know. And then I've been to my mum and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I didn't know. And her mum didn't know. Like, this is generation, this is millions, this is many, many generations. So, but no more.
Exactly.
No more.
So, Jacqui, tell us what you do. Jacqui, by the way, is a nurse, right? So she knows how to hold a safe space for you. She knows all the proper anatomy and physiology and all the things behind it. But more than that, she is a super loving human being. You will not find anyone more passionate than Jacqui. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
I wish I'd known you when my daughter was little.
Yeah, I wish I'd known you.
We missed out on. So tell us about, so it's called Nurse Jacqui, Mother and Daughter Empowered Period Workshops. I like that, having an empowered period.
Yeah.
That period we want to hide under the covers, but we don't have to, right?
No, well, we can take, we can take that space, we can honor that space because that's one of the 4 phases of our menstrual cycle. And even though our head is happy that we haven't become impregnated or created or fertilized, our body is super grieving it. Our body is designed and created to create. So when we do actually menstruate, it actually goes through like a phase of grief. And so when we're in power, we can actually honor that and actually give that some space. What also happens during that phase is our intuition is incredibly high. So if we did honor that space, if we did allow that space to actually let our body grieve and release, it literally releases. You think about it, here we are bleeding for 5 days and we still live. Like, how cool are we? Like, how cool are we? But if we give them that space, if we give our body that space, and I know we've still got to go to work and school and all that, but it's about it's 1%, and you might have a list of to-dos and you're like, well, I'm in my what's called your dream or your winter phase of your cycle. I'll just do my priority, and I know next week when I'm in my do or my spring phase, I'm going to have the energy for it, and then I'm going to use the rest of that time, I'm going to get under that duvet, and it may just be 10 minutes. But in that 10 minutes, you can get some awesome messages from your intuition. And
then we can stop beating ourselves up. We can finally give ourselves permission. And here's the thing about emotions, right? You fight it, it's going to last 10 times longer.
Yeah.
Into it.
Yeah, totally. And then when you learn, you can learn about what foods are good to eat during that time, what movement's good, what oils are good, what kind of affirmations are good. So we've actually got this beautiful inner barometer that we can, when we understand and empowered and educated, we can actually tap into it, and it actually just gives us a view. We actually feel well. We feel like well beings. And rather than pushing and trying to push through and try, everyone else has got theirs, I can push through. So no more, and it's about, and the more we stand up and honor those phases, the more it will ripple effect onto others. And I don't just mean other women, I mean men as well. If we're both kind of on the same page, we can work super well together. We've got that yin and that yang. So
I'm sure would love to understand it more, right? Like I get angry when I get my period and I acknowledge that it's because I'm sad and I'm covering it up with anger, right? But
Yeah,
my
sure.
husband has no idea why I'm angry.
Yeah. And then when if you understand the whole cycle, you can actually reserve some energy in the other parts where you're in easy lane. And so then when you get to tricky lane, you've actually got a bit of reserve in there. And so you'll find that those sort of anger outbursty things are reduced. So we've normalized PMT as well. And when we actually understand, we can take from other parts of our cycle and just bank them.
Fantastic. And what an empowered way to live and run a business, right?
Oh
Like,
my gosh, to run a business, sensational. And if you're studying as well, sensational, because we try and push on and we think we're useless and hopeless and not worthy and all that inner bullshit. And when you actually create space for different parts of the cycle where you know where your energy's at, you're just like, man, I'm on fire. Man, I've got this.
This is great.
Yeah, so cool.
Great.
It is so cool.
Tell us how we can join. Like and can we come along if we don't have daughters?
Yeah, so I run a mother-daughter workshop, and that's because there's a real disconnect with mother and daughters during the starting phases and into menstruating, because everyone's learning, and at the moment mums are going through the second puberty at the same time as their daughters are going through first puberty. So I get into that as well. So perimenopause and menopause, I tap into that. So absolutely yes. So yeah, I've done young women, all age menstruators, just without a significant other, so absolutely, yeah. And even if you're perimenopausal or menopausal, this information is gold because you're interacting with women every day. So it actually brings on this newfound compassion for others, because you're kind of like, wonder what phase they're in. Interesting. Okay, they're on it, they're grieving, or they're highly energized, or they're preparing to be grieving. So it actually changes the way that your compassion for others.
And what about dads? Can they come along?
Yes. So I've put my husband through this workshop. We've got two young teenage daughters. Changed our home. Wow. Changed our home. Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, definitely. I'd love dads to come for suresies. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Tell us, when is your next one? And if we can't attend the next one, like, how do we get in contact with you? How do we get some of this knowledge?
Yeah. So my next one's in Auckland, 23rd of May. So it's in Mount Abbott, and it's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that's a mother-daughter one. Then I've got two on one day on the 30th of May in Warkworth, and then Tauranga on the 20th of June. And you can get hold of me, heartplace.co.nz, or anything on social media. It's Heartplace with Nurse Jacqui, Jacqui.
Fantastic. And if we're a school, we want to get you to come and talk to 5,000 menstruating young women.
Bring it on.
Okay.
Yeah. And keep the boys there too.
By the way, Nurse Jacqui also has experience of working in schools, right? So she is the perfect person to talk to large crowds. Thank you so much, Jacqui. I could seriously talk to you about that for 8 hours. I think we're going to have to book another one.
And me too. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. And go ahead and book in with Nurse Jacqui. It will absolutely change your life.